Admiral Jake Morrison stood at the large window of Luna Station, watching Earth slowly turn below. The blue and green planet looked peaceful from here, but Jake knew that peace was about to end. For 200 years, humans had tried to live quietly in their small corner of the galaxy. They had built colonies on nearby planets and tried to stay out of trouble. But trouble had found them anyway. The door behind him opened with a soft sound. Dr. Lisa Harper walked in, carrying a stack of data tablets. She was the best alien expert Earth had, and her face showed worry. "The Xantharian fleet is bigger than we thought," Lisa said, setting the tablets on the table. "Our scouts counted 50,000 ships heading this way. They want us to surrender all our colonies and become part of their empire." Jake turned from the window. He was a tall man with gray hair and tired eyes. He had been in charge of Earth's defense for 10 years, and he had been preparing for this day the whole time. "What did Ambassador Sullivan tell them?" Jake asked. "She delivered our message exactly as you wrote it," Lisa replied. "She told them that humans have been holding back for the sake of peace. She warned them that this was their last chance to turn around and leave us alone." Jake almost smiled, but there was no joy in it. "And what did they say?" "They laughed," Lisa said quietly. "The Xantharian High Command thinks we are just scared primitives trying to sound tough. They said humans are too weak to be a real threat to anyone." Captain Ryan Brooks entered the room just as Lisa finished speaking. Ryan was young and quick, with the kind of sharp eyes that came from flying dangerous missions in space. He had just returned from a secret scouting run near the Xantharian fleet. "Admiral, I got close enough to their main ships to count their weapons," Ryan reported. "They are not even trying to hide their strength. They think this will be easy." Jake walked to his desk and picked up a small device. It looked like a simple communication unit, but it was much more than that. This device could send a signal to every hidden human base in the solar system. For decades, humans had been building in secret, preparing for a war they hoped would never come. "Dr. Harper, in your expert opinion, is there any chance the Xantharians will change their minds?" Jake asked. Lisa shook her head sadly. "No, Admiral. I have studied their culture for 20 years. They see kindness as weakness and diplomacy as fear. They believe that because we have not attacked anyone, we cannot attack anyone." Jake looked at both of them. These were good people who had worked hard to find a peaceful solution, but sometimes peace was not possible. "Captain Brooks, how long? Until their fleet reaches Earth?" Jake asked. 3 days, sir," Ryan answered. "Maybe 4 if they stop to gather more ships from their allies." Jake pressed a button on his desk. The wall screen came to life, showing the Xantharian fleet moving through space like a swarm of angry insects. Each ship was twice the size of anything humans had ever built, or so the aliens thought. Ambassador Kate Sullivan appeared on another screen. She was still on the Xantharian command ship, trying one last time to make them listen to reason. "Admiral Morrison," Kate said, her voice coming through the communication system. "I have delivered our final warning. The Xantharian Emperor himself told me that humans should be grateful to become part of their empire. He said we should thank them for not destroying Earth completely." Jake felt something cold settle in his stomach. He had hoped, even after all these years of preparation, that it would not come to this. But the Xantharians had made their choice. "Ambassador Sullivan, please return to Earth immediately," Jake said into the communicator. "Tell them that their answer has been received and understood." After Kate's image disappeared from the screen, Jake sat down heavily in his chair. Lisa and Ryan waited quietly, knowing that their leader was about to make the most important decision in human history. "For 2 centuries, we have been the quiet neighbors," Jake said slowly. "We explored space carefully. We traded fairly with anyone who would trade with us. We never started fights, and we tried not to finish them either. We let other species think we were weak because it kept the peace." He stood up and walked back to the window. Earth continued to turn below, unaware that everything was about to change. "But we were never weak," Jake continued. "We were careful. Every asteroid we mined, every space station we built, every colony ship we sent out, they all had a second purpose. We have been preparing for this day since we first met hostile aliens." Dr. Harper spoke carefully. "Admiral, once we activate the hidden protocols, there will be no going back. The galaxy will know what humans are really capable of. The galaxy will learn that there is a difference between choosing not to fight and being unable to fight, Jake replied. The Xantharians think our restraint was weakness. They are about to discover that our restraint was mercy. Ryan stepped forward. Sir, do you want me to send the activation signal to all hidden bases? Jake picked up the small device again. Such a simple thing to hold so much power. With one press of a button, he could activate weapons and ships that had been hidden for decades. Manufacturing plants that looked like mining stations would reveal their true purpose. Peaceful research stations would become military command centers. And the thousands of humans who had been quietly training for this moment would finally be able to show what they could do. Admiral, Lisa said softly, the Xantharians still have time to turn back. Maybe we should wait a little longer. Jake looked at her with understanding. She was a good person who believed in peace. But sometimes, good people had to make hard choices. Dr. Harper, how many innocent people live on worlds that the Xantharian Empire has conquered? Jake asked. Billions, Lisa replied quietly. And how many more will they conquer if no one stops them? Lisa was silent for a moment. Then she nodded slowly. I understand, Admiral. Jake pressed the button. Across the solar system, hidden bases began to wake up. On Mars, underground shipyards started opening their massive doors. In the asteroid belt, mining platforms revealed weapons that had been disguised as drilling equipment. Around Jupiter's moons, research stations unfolded into military command centers. Captain Brooks, please prepare your squadron, Jake ordered. The Xantharians wanted to see what humans can do when we stop holding back. It is time to show them. The war had begun. General Mike Chen stood in the command center deep inside Mars, watching as massive doors opened above him. For 30 years, this place had looked like a simple mining operation. Tourists from Earth sometimes visited to see how humans dug metals from the red planet. None of them knew that below their feet was the largest shipyard in the solar system. Sir, all hidden bases are reporting ready, Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez said from her control station. She was young but had been training for this moment since she was 16. Like thousands of other humans, Amy had grown up knowing that someday they might have to defend their home. Dr. Alex Turner was checking his computers one more time. Alex had spent 20 years developing weapons that no alien species had ever seen. His hands moved quickly over the controls as he activated systems that had been waiting in silence. General, the Prometheus protocol is fully active, Alex reported. All ships are powered up and ready to launch. Mike looked at the main screen. It showed the solar system like a three-dimensional map, with thousands of dots representing human ships that were now revealing themselves. What had looked like empty space just hours ago was now filled with Earth's true military power. Commander Steve Parker's voice came through the communication system from his ship, the Retribution. Steve had been waiting in the asteroid belt with his crew, pretending to run a simple mining station. His ship was hidden inside a hollowed-out asteroid that could split open when needed. General Chen, this is Commander Parker. My ship is free of the asteroid and ready for combat. All weapon systems are working perfectly. Mike smiled for the first time in days. Good to hear, Steve. How does it feel to finally take the chains off? Like Christmas morning, sir, Steve replied. The Xantharian fleet was still 2 days away from Earth, moving slowly because they thought they had all the time in the world. Their scouts had reported that humans had a few small defense platforms around Earth and maybe a dozen ships. The aliens had no idea that they were walking into a trap. Captain Ryan Brooks was already in space with his scout squadron. Ryan's ships were small and fast, designed to look like the simple patrol boats that most species used. But these ships could move faster than anything the Xantharians had ever built. General Chen, this is Captain Brooks. Ryan's voice came through the speakers. I have visual contact with the front edge of the Xantharian fleet. They are moving, in a standard formation, not expecting any real resistance. How many ships in the advance group? Mike asked. About 500, sir. Perfect size for our first demonstration. Mike looked at Dr. Turner. Alex, are your new weapons ready to test? Alex grinned. He was a quiet man who usually worried about everything, but today he looked excited. "General, my plasma lance systems have been waiting for this moment. The aliens think their shields can stop anything. They are about to learn otherwise." Lieutenant Rodriguez was monitoring communications from across the galaxy. "Sir, I am picking up alien transmissions. They are still talking about humans like we are some kind of joke. One Xantharian commander just said that conquering Earth will be easier than stealing candy from children." Mike's smile turned cold. "Let's change their minds about that. Captain Brooks, you are authorized to engage the enemy advance force. Show them what humans can do when we stop being polite." "Understood, General. It will be my pleasure." On the main screen, Mike could see Ryan's small squadron moving toward the massive Xantharian ships. To any alien watching, it looked like a few brave but foolish humans were about to sacrifice themselves in a hopeless attack. The Xantharian ships did not even bother to raise their shields. "Brooks to all ships." Ryan's voice was calm and professional. "Remember, we want some of them to survive so they can report back to their fleet. Let's make this educational." The human ship spread out and attacked from different directions. Ryan's ship moved so fast that it seemed to teleport from one position to another. The aliens had never seen ships that could change direction so quickly or accelerate so smoothly. Ryan fired his first shot at a Xantharian cruiser. The plasma lance cut through the alien ship's armor like it was made of paper. The cruiser exploded in a ball of fire that lit up space for miles around. Amy Rodriguez was watching the battle from Mars. "Sir, the Xantharian ships are trying to return fire, but they cannot track our ships. Captain Brooks is moving too fast for their weapons to follow." On the screen, Mike watched as Ryan's squadron destroyed ship after ship. The aliens were panicking now, trying to escape or call for help. But the human ships were everywhere at once, striking and disappearing before the aliens could react. In just 10 minutes, Ryan's small squadron had destroyed over 200 Xantharian ships. The surviving aliens were running back toward their main fleet as fast as they could go. "Brooks to General Chen," Ryan reported. "Mission accomplished. I am letting about 50 ships escape so they can tell their friends what happened here." Dr. Turner was studying the results on his computer. "General, the plasma lances worked even better than I hoped. The alien shields did not slow down our weapons at all. It was like shooting through empty air." Mike nodded with satisfaction. "Good work, Alex. Now let's see how the aliens react when they hear what happened to their advance force." Commander Parker's voice came through the speakers again. "General, I am monitoring alien communications. The survivors are reporting to their main fleet. The Xantharian commanders are not believing what they are hearing." "What are they saying?" Mike asked. "One alien captain is trying to explain that human ships can move faster than light without using hyperspace drives. Another one is saying our weapons can destroy their biggest ships with one shot. Their fleet commander is telling them all to stop lying and give real reports." Lieutenant Rodriguez looked up from her station. "Sir, the main Xantharian fleet is changing course. They are slowing down and calling for reinforcements from other star systems." Mike had expected this. The aliens were finally taking humans seriously. But they were making the same mistake they had made before. They thought the solution was to bring bigger guns and more ships. "Dr. Turner, how many ships do we have ready for the next phase?" Mike asked. Alex checked his numbers. "General, we have over 15,000 combat ships fully armed and ready. Our manufacturing plants can build 100 new ships every day. The aliens have no idea how much we have been preparing. And our special weapons? The quantum fold engines are working perfectly. We can move entire fleets across the galaxy in minutes instead of weeks. The nano repair systems mean our ships can fix themselves during battle. And the AI assistance programs let one human pilot control multiple ships at the same time." Mike looked around the command center. Everyone was working smoothly, doing jobs they had trained for but never expected to actually do. These people had spent their whole lives preparing for a war they hoped would never come. Now that it was here, they were ready. "Lieutenant Rodriguez, send a message to Admiral Morrison on Luna Station," Mike ordered. "Tell him the first phase was successful. The aliens now know that humans have been hiding our real strength, but they still think they can win by bringing more ships." "Yes, sir. Anything else?" Mike looked at the main screen again. The Xantharian fleet was still moving toward Earth, but now they were being more careful. They had learned that humans were dangerous, but they had not learned how dangerous. "Tell the Admiral that the aliens are about to get their second lesson," Mike said. "And this one will be much harder than the first." Admiral Tony Walsh watched his fleet move through space like a school of deadly fish. His ships were spread across 12 different star systems, all attacking at the same time. This was something no one had ever tried before, hitting multiple targets across the galaxy at exactly the same moment. "Admiral, all fleets are in position," Captain Nina Foster reported from the bridge of the Vindicator. Nina was an expert at understanding alien technology, and she had been studying captured Xantharian equipment for weeks. "The enemy has no idea we are here." Tony smiled. The aliens were still thinking like they always had. One battle at a time. One system at a time. They could not imagine that humans had found a way to move entire fleets instantly across vast distances. "All ships, this is Admiral Walsh." Tony spoke into his communicator. "Today we show the galaxy that humans do not fight fair. We fight smart. Begin Operation Thunderstrike." In 12 different star systems, human fleets appeared out of nowhere. The aliens had been expecting attacks near Earth, not in the heart of their own territory. Xantharian bases and supply stations were suddenly facing enemies that should have been impossible to reach. Major Luke Davis was leading his Wraith Marines onto a Xantharian command ship in the Vega system. Luke and his soldiers wore armor that made them nearly invisible, and they could walk through solid walls using technology that the aliens had never seen. "Davis to Admiral Walsh," Luke whispered into his radio as he and his team moved through the alien ship like ghosts. "We are inside their main command center. The aliens have no idea we are here." Luke's Marines had trained for years to fight in spaceships built by different species. They knew how alien life support systems worked and where to find the most important computers. In just a few minutes, they had taken control of the entire ship without firing a shot. "Admiral, we have captured their fleet coordination computer," Luke reported. "Dr. Price's psychological warfare program is ready to upload." Dr. Emma Price had been studying alien minds for 15 years. She understood how different species thought and what scared them the most. Emma had created special messages that could break down enemy morale and make alien soldiers lose the will to fight. "Upload the program, Major," Tony ordered. "Let's see how the aliens like being on the receiving end of mind games." Across the Xantharian communication network, Emma's program began spreading like a virus. Alien commanders started hearing reports that made no sense. Human ships were everywhere at once. Human soldiers could walk through walls. Human weapons could destroy anything they hit. Captain Nina Foster was studying the results on her computer. "Admiral, the psychological warfare program is working better than we hoped. Alien communications are full of panic and confusion. Some of their ships are withdrawing from battles they were winning." Tony nodded with satisfaction. Fear was often more powerful than weapons. When enemies started believing they could not win, they often proved themselves right. In the Alpha Centauri system, Commander Joe Hayes was running a different kind of operation. Joe was in charge of intelligence, and he had been working to turn alien species against the Xantharian Empire for months. Many aliens were tired of being ruled by the Xantharians, but had been afraid to rebel. "Admiral Walsh, this is Commander Hayes," Joe reported from his stealth ship. "The Altarian Defense Force has agreed to join us. They are attacking Xantharian bases in their home system right now." "How many species have switched sides so far?" Tony asked. 17, sir, with more considering it every hour. It turns out that a lot of aliens were only loyal to the Empire because they thought it was too strong to defeat. Now that we have proven it can be beaten, they want to be on the winning side." Tony looked at the main battle display. Green dots showed human forces, red dots showed loyal Xantharian forces, and blue dots showed alien species that had joined the human side. The map was turning more blue and green every minute. Dr. Rachel Kim was working on something even more impressive than military victories. Rachel had developed a way to change entire planets in just a few days, making them suitable for human life. Her Genesis protocol could turn dead rocks into garden worlds almost overnight. "Admiral, The first Genesis test was successful, Rachel reported from her research ship. We have converted the dead planet in the Rigel system into a fully livable world. It now has breathable air, fresh water, and soil that can grow Earth crops. Tony was amazed. Changing planets usually took thousands of years. Rachel had done it in 3 days. Dr. Kim, how many worlds can you convert at once? Tony asked. With our current equipment, we can handle 12 planets at the same time, Rachel replied. But Admiral, there is something else. The Genesis protocol does not just make planets livable for humans. It also makes them completely unsuitable for most alien species. Any world we convert becomes useless to our enemies. This was even better than Tony had hoped. Humans were not just winning battles, they were changing the galaxy itself. Every planet they converted became a permanent human stronghold that aliens could not take back. Major Davis reported in from another captured ship. Admiral, we have taken control of a Xantharian supply depot. Luke's Marines found something interesting in their computers. The aliens have been planning to destroy human colonies if they start losing the war. Tony's expression darkened. The Xantharians were getting desperate, and desperate enemies were dangerous. But humans had prepared for this possibility too. Major, upload all the data about their planet-killer weapons to our intelligence network, Tony ordered. And prepare your Marines for deep strike missions. If the aliens want to target innocent people, we will target their ability to harm anyone. Captain Foster looked up from her computers. Sir, I am reading massive energy signatures from the direction of Earth. It looks like the main Xantharian fleet is finally making their attack. Tony nodded. He had been expecting this. While his forces were attacking across the galaxy, the alien main fleet was trying to strike at Earth itself. But Admiral Morrison and General Chen had prepared defenses that would surprise the aliens, just as much as these scattered attacks had. All fleets, continue your missions, Tony ordered. Hit every Xantharian base you can find. Capture their technology, turn their allies against them, and show the galaxy that the old order is finished. Dr. Price's voice came through the communicator from her psychological warfare center. Admiral, I am detecting something interesting in the alien communications. Some Xantharian commanders are starting to question their own leaders. They are asking why no one warned them that humans were this dangerous. What are they being told? Tony asked. Their high command is ordering them to fight to the death and stop asking questions. But Admiral, fear and doubt are spreading through their ranks faster than we can attack them. Some alien crews are starting to surrender before we even reach their ships. Tony looked at the battle display again. Human forces were winning everywhere, often without having to fire a shot. The reputation of human military power was becoming a weapon all by itself. Dr. Kim, how long until you can have 50 human-compatible worlds ready for colonization? Tony asked. 2 weeks, Admiral. Maybe less if I can get more Genesis ships built. Tony smiled. In 2 weeks, humans would have 50 new worlds scattered across the galaxy. In a month, they could have 100. The aliens were not just losing a war, they were losing the galaxy itself. All forces, this is Admiral Walsh, Tony announced to his scattered fleets. Phase 3 was successful beyond all expectations. The enemy is in full retreat on all fronts. Prepare for Phase 4, the complete liberation of the galaxy. Fleet Admiral Sam Martinez stood on the bridge of the Liberator, watching as another Xantharian stronghold fell to human forces. The war had been going on for 8 months now, and the aliens were running out of places to hide. Sam was in charge of all human military operations across the galaxy, and he had never seen anything like what was happening now. Admiral, the siege of Proxima Base is complete, Colonel Beth Williams reported from her command ship. Beth was running something called the Scorched Earth Campaign, which meant that human forces were systematically destroying every piece of Xantharian military equipment they could find. We have captured their main weapons factory and all their stored supplies. Sam nodded. Beth's job was not pleasant, but it was necessary. The Xantharians had ruled the galaxy through fear and violence for centuries. Now they were learning what it felt like to be on the losing side. How many alien workers were in the factory? Sam asked. About 3,000, sir. Most of them are not Xantharians. They were forced to work there by the Empire. We have offered them jobs in our own factories if they want to help build things instead of weapons. This was typical of how the war was going. The Xantharian Empire had ruled over dozens of different alien species, most of whom were happy to see their oppressors defeated. Many aliens were volunteering to help humans rebuild the galaxy in a better way. Commander Joe Hayes contacted Sam from his intelligence ship in the Sirius system. Admiral Martinez, we have intercepted Xantharian communications from their remaining strongholds. They are planning something desperate. What kind of desperate? Sam asked. They want to use planet-killer weapons against human colonies. If they cannot win the war, they plan to destroy as many human worlds as possible before they are defeated. Sam felt cold anger rise in his chest. The Xantharians had started this war, lost it badly, and now they wanted to murder innocent people out of spite. This was exactly why the galaxy needed new leadership. Commander Hayes, do we know where their planet-killer weapons are located? Yes, sir. Dr. Kim's people have been tracking them for weeks. We know the location of every major Xantharian weapon, including the ones they think are secret. Dr. Rachel Kim had been busy with more than just converting planets for human use. Her teams had also developed ways to find and destroy the most dangerous alien weapons before they could be used. Rachel's Genesis technology could create life, but it could also remove threats to that life. Dr. Kim, this is Admiral Martinez. Sam spoke into his communicator. I need you to neutralize all Xantharian planet-killer weapons immediately. Use whatever force is necessary. Understood, Admiral, Rachel replied from her science ship. My teams are already in position around their weapon storage sites. We can destroy all of them within 6 hours. Sam looked at the main display screen, which showed the current state of the galaxy. Green areas were under human control. Red areas were still controlled by the Xantharian Empire, and blue areas were neutral or had joined the human side. Most of the galaxy was now green or blue. Colonel Williams contacted him again. Admiral, we have a problem in the Vega system. A group of Xantharian ships is holding alien civilians hostage. They are threatening to kill thousands of innocent people if we attack them. Sam closed his eyes for a moment. This was the hardest part of war, when enemies tried to use innocent people as shields. But humans had prepared for this situation, too. Colonel, deploy the Wraith Marines immediately. How long will Major Davis need to free the hostages? Luke's teams are already in position, sir. They can infiltrate the Xantharian ships and neutralize the guards without harming any civilians. Estimated time for rescue operations is 30 minutes. Major Luke Davis and his Wraith Marines had become legendary during the war. They could appear anywhere, walk through any defense, and complete impossible missions without being detected. The aliens had started telling stories about human soldiers who could become invisible and move through solid walls like ghosts. Admiral Martinez, this is Commander Parker. Steve Parker's voice came through the speakers from his battle group near Earth. The last major Xantharian fleet is making one final attack on the Sol system. They have about 10,000 ships left. Sam almost felt sorry for them. 10,000 ships had once been enough to conquer entire star systems. Now it was barely enough to threaten a single human planet. Commander Parker, you are authorized to destroy the enemy fleet completely. No survivors this time. They have proven they cannot be trusted to surrender honorably. Dr. Kim's voice came through the communicator with good news. Admiral, all Xantharian planet-killer weapons have been neutralized. We found 37 weapons that could destroy worlds, and all of them are now harmless scrap metal. Sam felt relief wash through him. The most dangerous part of the war was over. The aliens could no longer threaten human civilians, which meant that human forces could focus on ending the conflict completely. Dr. Kim, how many human-compatible worlds do we have ready for colonization now? 215, Admiral, with more being completed every day. We also have 50 worlds that are perfect for alien species who want to join our alliance. The galaxy is becoming a much more livable place. This was the real victory, Sam realized. Humans were not just defeating their enemies. They were building something better to replace the old empire. Every world that Dr. Kim converted became a place where different species could live together in peace. Major Davis reported success from his hostage rescue mission. Admiral, all civilians have been freed safely. The Xantharian guards never knew we were there until it was too late. The hostages are asking if they can join human colonies instead of returning to Empire-controlled worlds. Tell them they are welcome to go wherever they want, Sam replied. Freedom includes the right to choose where you live. Colonel Williams had more good news from her Scorched Earth campaign. Sir, we have destroyed the last major Xantharian weapons factory. Their ability to build new ships or arm their remaining forces is now zero. All they have left is what they already had when the war started. Commander Hayes added his intelligence report. Admiral, our sources inside the remaining Xantharian strongholds report that morale has completely collapsed. Many alien crews are abandoning their ships and trying to find ways to surrender to human forces. Sam looked at the galaxy display again. The red areas were shrinking every hour, and some of them were turning blue as alien species switched sides. The Xantharian Empire was not just losing the war, it was falling apart from the inside. All forces, this is Admiral Martinez, Sam announced to the entire human fleet. The enemy's ability to threaten innocent people has been eliminated. Their weapons factories have been destroyed. Their allies have abandoned them. The Xantharian Empire is finished as a military power. He paused for a moment, thinking about everything that had led to this point. Humans had tried to live peacefully for 2 centuries. They had been willing to stay quiet in their corner of the galaxy, bothering no one. But the aliens had mistaken human kindness for human weakness, and now they were paying the price for that mistake. All fleets will now begin the final phase of operations, Sam continued. Locate and capture all remaining Xantharian leaders, secure all remaining Empire strongholds, and prepare for the establishment of a new galactic government based on freedom and cooperation, instead of fear and domination. Dr. Kim's voice came through one last time. Admiral, I have a request. Some of the worlds we are liberating have been badly damaged by centuries of Xantharian rule. Would you like me to use the Genesis Protocol to repair them? Sam smiled. Dr. Kim, make the galaxy bloom. Turn every dead world into a garden. Show everyone what life can be like when humans are in charge. The war was almost over, but the real work was just beginning. President Carl Thompson sat in his office on Earth, looking out at the most important meeting in galactic history. Representatives from hundreds of different alien species had come to Earth to help create a new government for the galaxy. 2 years had passed since the war began, and the universe was a very different place now. The Xantharian Empire was gone. The last emperor had surrendered 6 months ago, and the remaining Xantharian worlds were now peaceful members of the new Terran Galactic Commonwealth. It was strange how quickly things had changed once the fighting stopped. Admiral Jake Morrison entered the office. Jake looked much happier than he had during the war, but he still carried the serious expression of someone who had seen too much conflict. As Supreme Galactic Commander, Jake was responsible for keeping peace across thousands of worlds. Mr. President, the final surrender ceremonies are complete, Jake reported. The last Xantharian military units have been disbanded and their leaders have formally accepted the new galactic constitution. Carl nodded. It had taken months of careful negotiation to create a government that all the different alien species could accept. The new constitution guaranteed freedom and protection for everyone, but it also made clear that Earth would lead the galactic community. Ambassador Lisa Harper knocked on the door and entered with a smile. Lisa had been promoted to chief of the Galactic Integration Office, which meant she was responsible for helping different alien species work together. It was a big job, but Lisa was good at understanding how different minds worked. Carl, I have excellent news, Lisa said, using the president's first name as she always did in private. The Rigelian Council has agreed to share their medical technology with human colonies. In exchange, we will help them rebuild their worlds using Dr. Kim's Genesis Protocol. This was exactly the kind of cooperation Carl had hoped for. Instead of conquering and ruling through fear like the old empire, humans were building partnerships that benefited everyone. Alien species were volunteering to join the Commonwealth because life was better under human leadership. Director Tom Miller appeared on the main screen from his headquarters on New Geneva, one of the first worlds that Dr. Kim had converted. Tom was in charge of the Galactic Reconstruction Authority, which was rebuilding all the worlds that had been damaged during centuries of Xantharian rule. Mr. President, I have the monthly reconstruction report, Tom said cheerfully. Tom was always happy because his job involved building things instead of destroying them. We have completed repairs on 47 worlds this month. Over 3 million alien families have moved to new homes on human-converted planets. Carl was amazed by how fast things were improving. When humans took control of the galaxy, they had found widespread poverty, pollution, and oppression. Now, just 2 years later, billions of people were living better lives than they had ever imagined possible. Tom, what do the aliens think about living on human-converted worlds? Carl asked. They love it, sir. Clean air, fresh water, fertile soil, and no one trying to control their lives. Most of them say they have never been happier. Some alien species are asking if we can convert more worlds just for them. Dr. Rachel Kim joined the conversation from her research station orbiting Jupiter. Rachel had become the most famous scientist in the galaxy because of her Genesis protocol. Aliens who had never heard of humans before the war now knew Rachel's name because she had made their worlds livable again. Mr. President, we have converted over 800 worlds now, Rachel reported. At our current rate, we can make the entire galaxy suitable for life within 10 years. We are also developing new versions of the Genesis protocol that can create worlds specifically designed for different alien species. Carl shook his head in wonder. Before the war, humans had controlled maybe 20 worlds. Now they were in charge of thousands, and they were making all of them better places to live. Ambassador Harper had more good news. Carl, the Andromedan Trade Union wants to establish formal diplomatic relations with the Commonwealth. They have heard about our peaceful policies and want to discuss cooperation agreements. This was particularly interesting because the Andromedan Trade Union was from another galaxy entirely. Word of human success was spreading far beyond the Milky Way, and other civilizations wanted to be friends with Earth. Admiral Morrison looked thoughtful. Mr. President, we need to be careful about expanding too quickly. We have proven that humans can win wars and build peace, but we do not want to repeat the mistakes of the old empire. Carl agreed completely. The Xantharian Empire had collapsed because it had grown too large and tried to control too many different species through force. The human commonwealth was growing just as fast, but it was based on cooperation instead of conquest. Jake, what is our current military situation? Carl asked. Very stable, sir. Most human military units have been converted to construction and exploration missions. We maintain enough defensive forces to protect our worlds, but we no longer need massive fleets for conquest. The galaxy is peaceful for the first time in centuries. Director Miller added his perspective from the reconstruction front. Mr. President, one of the most interesting things we have discovered is how much the aliens appreciate human fairness. Under the old empire, different species were treated very differently, depending on how useful they were. Under our system, everyone gets the same rights and opportunities. Carl had been thinking about this a lot lately. Humans had not set out to conquer the galaxy. They had simply defended themselves when attacked, and then they had tried to build something better than what they had replaced. Maybe that was why their new government was working so well. Dr. Kim had an important announcement. Mr. President, I want to share something that I think will interest you. We have discovered that several alien species have technologies that could make the Genesis protocol even better. By working together, we can create worlds that are more beautiful and more livable than anything any single species could build alone. This was the real victory, Carl realized. Humans had not just won a war. They had created a system where different species could combine their best ideas to benefit everyone. The galaxy was becoming stronger because of its diversity, not weaker. Admiral Morrison, I want to make an announcement to the galactic community, Carl said. I want everyone to know that the Commonwealth is not interested in conquest or expansion through force. We want to grow through friendship and cooperation. Jake nodded. What specific message do you want to send, Mr. President? Carl thought for a moment, remembering the words that Admiral Morrison had spoken to the Xantharians at the beginning of the war. Those words had been a warning. Now Carl wanted to send a different kind of message. I want to tell the galaxy that humans held back once for the sake of peace. We defended ourselves when we had to. But now we want to return to building instead of fighting. The choice is yours. Join us in creating something better, or leave us alone to do it ourselves. But never again make the mistake of thinking that human kindness means human weakness." Ambassador Harper smiled. "Carl, that message will be very well received. Most aliens have learned to respect human power, but they also appreciate human fairness. You are offering them the best of both worlds." Director Miller had one final report. "Mr. President, I have been asked to tell you that the former Xantharian Emperor wants to make a personal statement. He says he understands now why his empire fell, and he wants to help other species avoid making the same mistakes." Carl was surprised, but pleased. Even their former enemies were learning to work with humans instead of against them. "Dr. Kim, how long until the galaxy is completely rebuilt?" Carl asked. "At our current pace, maybe 5 more years for the major reconstruction projects. But Mr. President, I do not think we will ever really be finished. There are always new worlds to explore, new species to meet, and new problems to solve. The galaxy is a big place and there is always more work to do." Carl looked out his window at Earth, turning slowly in space just as it had when Admiral Morrison had first made the decision to reveal human military power. The planet looked the same, but everything else had changed. "Then let's get back to work," Carl said. "We have a galaxy to take care of." The war was over, but the future was just beginning.